in anthropology. So really to say, in some ways, Swanton was ahead of his time in doing good things, maybe like a good Harvard grad would. And he was part of this movement that really felt that anthropologists should go out into the field and connect with communities and study them very specifically and individually and get to know them rather than adhere to some biological evolutionist type of agenda. He spent his whole life at the Bureau of Ethnology, working there. And maybe one thing or a tenet that influenced Swanton's work, he was a spiritualist. That's sort of a non-Christian type of religious practice that he was engaged in that maybe allowed his mind to be a little bit more open to certain aspects. But also he struggled a little bit with agoraphobia. He was a little nervous around the public. Of course, Swanton and the Tlingit. He's really kind of one of the first anthropologists to study the Tlingit, if you're familiar with him. There had been a few that were starting to and had done a little, but really if we look at him concisely, he spent just 4 months in Southeast Alaska. He came here in 1904 and went to Sitka and Wrangell. He later, of course, do I need to be louder? Okay. I'll try to move in here. Is that hopefully a little better? I'm going to talk a little bit, as I mentioned, with a focus on his Tlingit myths and texts. He did produce 2 bigger monographs and a lot of essays, but to really keep it concise, just these. His Tlingit myths and texts really is a publication that has the most Tlingit language material in it. One publication with some of the most Tlingit language material in it that's still in existence. What have folks written about Swanton? He's really, he deserves a lot more attention. Richard and Nora Dowenauer have addressed some of his things, as have Robert Bringhurst. With this group, it's probably fair to say a lot of you are familiar with what Tlingit oral traditions are. Dick and Nora Downer have talked about, have published on this, and this is something that's known in the community. But for those of you who are not, if you're not familiar with what oral literature is, many of you may be familiar with, we could say, the Homer's Iliad or the Odyssey, a type of oral literature that was later captured in writing. Very significant. Now I want to get down to Swanton and start looking at him now. He came to Sitka in 1904 and even brought his wife along. It dovetailed as their honeymoon. And so maybe he had distractions even in his 4 months there. But from really what we know, as I mentioned, he only left really a half a page talking about how he did his work. But from surviving records, which is really his correspondence and his wife's diary, we can learn that how he connected with the community. He invited people into his hotel room and sat down and interviewed them. He did spend some time, it seems, down in what was then called the Sitka Indian Village. And really, how did he document this process? He sat people down and interviewed them and penned field notes, wrote things out, and he even had an early recording device, a gramophone, which he recorded songs from Decky Knock, and these have still survived to this day. Now, I want to talk a little bit just about some of his informants. I could spend more than 20 minutes on each one, but real briefly. When Swanton came to Sitka, the person he connected with, and really that he spent a great deal of time with, was Don Cameron. This is a picture of him. He was a Kagwan man born in Klukwan. And Swanton, of course, considered him, as he wrote to his administration, that he could be trusted as a fine authority on Tlingit culture. And in some ways, their relationship was a great product of circumstances. Swanton was looking for someone who was a fluent speaker of Tlingit, who was knowledgeable about the cultural, but who also Swanton could talk to, who was bilingual. Don Cameron, at the time, he had little children at home, and Swanton offered a good wage, and so they got together and forged this sort of relationship where they could exchange and record cultural information. And I do highlight on some of these how many of the stories, you can see in the red above, how many of the stories or pieces of oral literature that Swanton published from these folks. Moving on, the person that Swanton probably spent the most time with of his entire 4 months was Dekinock. Obtained a lot of stories from Dekinock. A Kagwantan elder, maybe secured because of certainly his knowledge, but maybe because he was Don Cameron's clan elder. Dekinock was invited into Swanton's hotel room, and apparently the neighbors were getting a little rambunctious because Dekinock was singing all the songs into the recording device quite loudly, and Swanton was a little worried about it. But we do know that he sat down and recorded, and Dekinock gave a lot of good cultural information that was later put into print in Swanton's. He wrote a little monograph on the Tlingit culture. But Dekinock's voice is very strong in this in Swanton's work. And moving a little quicker, he connected with 2 other people at Sitka. Catlean, I'll say Catlean III, which I unfortunately don't have too much time to talk about, but a very knowledgeable individual, a Kiksadi man. And the final person he connected with that he obtained one story from was a man from Yakutat, Kadasteen, sometimes known as Sitka Jake. And this is one of the Tlingit language texts that Swanton later produced in his Tlingit myths and textbooks. Now, of course, after Swanton had worked for a time in Sitka, he spent about a month and a half there really connecting with people, penning field notes. It was time to leave, and it was time to move on to Wrangell. He wrote his administration a letter and told them a little bit of some of the things he'd done while he was in Sitka. And maybe to move it very concisely, he said had penned 550 pages of manuscript notes. 200 of those were in the Tlingit language. And a lot of this seems to have occurred through his work with Don Cameron. Then, of course, after his short time in Sitka, he moved to Wrangell to connect with the community there. Really, it seems his core, you could say, cultural informant, maybe even translator. It is a little foggy, but it does seem it's reliable. We can say that it was John, someone who was known as Kadashan, or sometimes who went by John Kadashan. He was a Akawshix't clan man and a Kagwantan Yadi. He was born in Klukwan himself. There's a big history about really how he got to be down there, but a very knowledgeable man. And I think, if anything, we learn from the people that Swanton worked with that he really connected with very knowledgeable individuals. Don Cameron plugged him into people who were very sharp, as did Kadashan when he came to Wrangell. Kadashan's work in Tlingit myths and texts, and in his other monograph, The Social Conditions of the Tlingit, is very prominent. Now, Swanton, he also mentioned he connected with 2 other people at Wrangell. One he mentioned, all he said was Kadashan's mother. He did not mention her by name, but we know her as Cleek, which has been documented by the Lewis Shotridge notes. He also mentioned he connected with an old cake man named Kasank. And this is somebody I still have not been able to figure out exactly who he is. Could it have been Johnny Kasank, or an individual who went by Johnny Kasank, that was in Wrangell at the time? This is a photo from about 1905 when Swanton was there. So something I'm still working to hammer out. So after Swanton had been in Wrangell and Sitka, it was really time for him to head back. He wrote his administration and told them about all the art he had obtained or removed from the community, like an anthropologist of the time. A lot of his work was funded by getting art from the communities for the museum. So Swanton is a complex individual. I think when we look at him today, we can acknowledge that he did some really good things, and there are other things that there has been concern with in the community. But really, as Swanton went back after he had done his field work, and really he was a new young anthropologist, he went back to the Bureau of American Ethnology where he worked and wanted to publish his research. It was a job that was what he was supposed to do, is publish on Native American communities to help the United States understand Native Americans. As Robert Bringhurst has written, the Bureau of Ethnology's new chief really had a hard time believing in the need to publish Native American language material, or at least in the actual language. Swanton had previously worked with the Haida, and his boss essentially tried to put the stop on Swanton publishing his Haida text. Swanton got a little bit of it through. And Robert Bringhurst has written about this. When it came time for Swanton to try and publish his Tlingit language text, which he really wanted, he really believed there was important value in the Tlingit language. Unfortunately, I found a nice private letter where he was conferring with his mentor, Franz Boas, where he essentially said, "It's well nigh impossible to get any assistance in publishing linguistic material here." His boss, who was an archaeologist, felt that Native cultures could be learned from through archaeology, and kind of told Swanton, no, you don't need to do that much language material, and really stopped him, it seems, from publishing all that he wanted to. To maybe sort of bring some of this to a close, what can we look at from Swanton? He spent 4 months in 1904 in Southeast Alaska. When he first came here, he acknowledged to his boss in a January 1904 letter, "The Tlingit evidently have a rich mythology, which I shall be able to little more than touch." So he acknowledged he was only going to have a short time, and he acknowledged that there was something very big, very deep here, but he could only touch it. If we want to look at maybe Swanton for his time and the work he produced, we could say he actually did pretty fair work. His publications, his ethnography of Tlingit culture is pretty fair. Granted, there are some things that one really has to look at carefully. But there are some things we can be critical, and hopefully maybe I can find a balance here. He did some really good things for his time, but some things that people can be critical of him is he, of course, failed to acknowledge the people he worked with properly. And when it came time to publish Tlingit myths and texts, some of these seem to be more summarized or paraphrased pieces rather than full, detailed pieces of oral literature. There's been certainly an acknowledgement that the Tlingit language part of the texts that are contained in here have great value, but the others, it's a little more complex, unfortunately. Maybe it's important to acknowledge that these problems with condensing or summarizing or manipulating the authenticity of a piece of oral literature is perhaps one of the most detrimental and disingenuous actions that scholars or non-scholars have ever taken. It's a real problem. It essentially, if we use it as a comparison, if we looked at Homer's The Odyssey or the Iliad, a comparison would be to remove the names of all the characters in Homer's stories, the places where they visited, really squeeze it down and condense it, and sort of reframe it through another cultural worldview. That's the kind of thing that has often been done with pieces of Native American oral literature. But there are some good things that have come and can come from Swanton's work. Dick Dauenauer, when he looked at some of the songs that Swanton published, he said that if someone has some good training and understands the language, they could really kind of pull these out and do something with them. And it's the same with some of these Tlingit language texts that Swanton published. Folks have already done some work on the story of sometimes known as Salmon Boy. Robbie Littlefield, Ethel Mackinnon, Nora and Dick Dauenauer, and Lydia George retransliterated this. And Ishmael Hope is doing a lot of good retransliteration work with some of these. And there's also been place names documented. So why is studying Swanton or these anthropologists important? To bring it to a close with my short time, really to give context, to try to give greater context and understand how their works were produced, how authentic or inauthentic are they. Understanding the way they did things at the time can help us understand maybe certain strengths or flaws. And two, it's important to give acknowledgement. And how far have we come today in these issues? It's really kind of a difficult situation in some regards. We have some really great things going on and scholars doing wonderful things who are native and non-native. But of course, sometimes the way graduate programs work is you have outsiders come into the community for 4 months like Swanton, or a shorter time and thereafter like Swanton. They went on and published all sorts of essays and became so-called experts on Tlingit culture. So there are these concerns that we still have to deal with. But if anything, it's a real challenge and a privilege to try to work with some of this. To try to understand this Tlingit world through these storytellers and individuals that Swanton meant. It's a privilege because, as Ishmael Hope said, or has said, Swanton wrote about us. Thank you very much.